Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. My name is Summer. Today I am going to do an unshelving of all of my books of my TBR that I have not read yet. I have them all piled right here. I think that I'll show some footage of the huge pile that I have. It's ridiculous. So here's a little sneak peek of everything that has been pulled off of my shelf that I have not read yet. This is what my shelf looks like right now. I'm already regretting having to put everything back on there. My shelf looks crazy and I'm already wanting to tear up just thinking about putting all this stuff back. So I'm not going to get too deep into what the books are about because I'm sure that in future videos I will go more into detail as I read them. However, I will be talking a little bit about why I haven't read them yet, because some I've had for an extremely long time. So I hope this video isn't a million years long, but I thought it would be a nice little way to get back into filming again, because I think it's been about 7 months since I have filmed something and I really wanted to get back into it. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. I have my iced coffee. I don't have tea today because it's finally getting warm. The first book that I have is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This book has gotten so many mixed reviews that I'm like, if it's mixed, I feel like I have to read it solely for the purpose of me to find out what my opinion would be on it. It is so thick. It's a big one. So I've been kind of intimidated to start this because I've kind of been on a little bit of a reading slump lately. So I just feel like this is not going to help that situation. I want to start this at some point, but I don't think really anytime soon because I just haven't really been in the mood for it. Next I have The Light Pirate, and this was my December of last year's book of the month. That's how far behind I am. I want to read this so bad, but for some reason I'm in my mood reading period. And I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't enjoy this as much as I would if I just waited to be in the mood to read this. This follows, I think this is dystopian, but it follows this family who lives in Florida. And Florida, I think, is essentially breaking off from North America. It follows this specific family and how they fight to survive. So it's not very big, so I'm assuming that it's action-packed, so maybe I should just bite the bullet and read it. Next I have Mame by Jessica George. This is my February book of the month, and we follow the character Mame, who I believe her parents are from Ghana, and she lives in London, and that's pretty much all I know about this book. I am excited to get into this. The cover is so pretty. I'm obsessed with this cover. So I think I try my best to read my book of the months in order. That doesn't always happen. I really want to be better at planning out my reads so that I can get through my books a little bit faster. Next book I have is The Last Russian Doll. This was my March book of the month. I also can't remember what this is about. I remember being frustrated with the March picks. I should have skipped, but this seemed like the best option for me. Personally, I get the feeling that this is a historical fiction. Like it's possibly kind of like Peach Blossom Spring, which was February of last year's book of the month, which I loved. So if it's anything like that, I'm really gonna be into this. My last book of the month, TBR, is Advika and the Hollywood Wives by Kirthana Ramasetti. And I had the opposite problem this month than I did with March, because I could not choose which book to pick. There were so many good books to pick from in April. I don't know who curated that list, but they did an amazing job. I ultimately chose this one. This follows Advika, who I believe this takes place in the 90s or possibly early 2000s. She ends up marrying an older Hollywood producer, and I believe it's an anonymous former wife that writes her a letter and says, if you divorce this producer, then I will give you $1 million. And so I think it kind of follows Advika and her trying to figure out why they want her to divorce, or why this person wants her to divorce him so badly. So this is going to be a super entertaining read. I This is my last book of the month, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit to read it, but I'm really excited to get into that one too. So this next book I have is The Next Thing You Know by Jessica Strawser, and I have no idea what this book is about. I bought this so long ago. I believe it's YA. I could not tell you one thing about this book. Next is The People We Keep by Allison Larkin. I've had this book for so long, and I have tried to pick it up and read it, and it's been really tough for me. And from what I have read of it so far, it reminds me a little bit of Daisy Jones and the Six. And it's an unpopular opinion, but I was not a huge fan of Daisy Jones and the Six. Loved Taylor Jenkins Reid, but that was not her best book in my opinion. I still enjoyed it, but I think I gave it a 3.5 on Goodreads. So when I started this one, I was fresh off of Daisy Jones and the Six, and I just wasn't feeling it. So it's been, I think, about 6 or 7 months since I've read that. I've had it for too long. It's been on my shelf on Goodreads, I think, for like 2 years. So I mostly want to read this just to stop seeing the cover of it, and I can move on with my life. Next I have Tokyo Dreaming by Amiko Jean. I had Tokyo Ever After that I read like a little over a year ago, and this is the second book. I believe it's a duology, and there isn't a third one, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure why I bought this. I was not a huge fan of Tokyo Ever After. I just felt like since I had that first one, I had to get the second one, and they're not very big, but I was hoping maybe that the writing matured a little bit more in this as they got older, because I think this is like a year or two down the road from the first book, so we'll have to see. I'm not sure if I will keep read. If I start it, if I'm not that into it, I might not read it. I got this on Half Price Books, so I think that was another reason why I bought it. I just got it because I think it was like $6. So next I have Before Your Memory Fades and Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the second and third book from Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is an extremely popular book, and I had no idea that there were 2 more of them. So when I saw these at Barnes & Noble, I was like, I have to get them, because Before the Coffee Gets Cold is so good. It took a minute to get into for me, and I think I kind of powered through it because of how short they are, and the font is kind of large. So I'm like, let me just see what all the hype is about, and I loved it. It was the last book that I read in 2022, so I'm really excited to get into these and finish up the series. Next I have the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I also got these on Half Price Books. This series is super popular with like YA readers. You know, I love a good true crime, book. So with all the hype, I'm hoping that these are really good because I bought all 3. Next I have Mortal Arts by Annalee Huber. This is the second book to a Lady Darby mystery. The first book, which is The Anatomist's Wife, was amazing. We read it for our book club that we have, and oh my gosh, it was so good. I am so surprised at how good they were. So Sabrin, I think, is on the 4th one. There are, I think, maybe 12 books in the series so far, and I believe she's still writing. So Sabrin said so far the books that she's been reading, like the 3rd and 4th ones, are just as good as the 1st and 2nd. What's up? Next, I have The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and this has really good reviews on Goodreads, I think. Oh, 3.89. Okay, that's not as good as I mean, it's still good, but it's not as good as I thought. I really enjoy short books like this because I know that there's going to be a lot to unpack. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so short. Like, there's going to be a lot to interpret. One of the people that I follow on Goodreads gave it a 1 star. So that's not a good start. Next, I have Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I got this at the library for $1, and I was so excited because I love this movie and I really wanted to read the book. So when I found it, I was literally jumping up and down. Next, Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer, and I got this on Half Price Books as well. I don't know why I thought this was YA, but it's not. He also wrote Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I haven't read that book in forever. That just makes me emotional thinking about it. Next I have The Night Shift by Alex Finley. This is also a true crime / murder mystery, and people I feel like either love or hate this book, and I'm interested to see how I feel about it. This seems like a book that I will save when I'm in a reading slump because I really enjoy thrillers like this to kind of get me out of that. So I think I'm gonna save that for when I'm really struggling. This is The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. This is about a father who delivers his own twins. He's a doctor. The son is perfectly healthy and the daughter ends up having Down syndrome. So he decides for one reason or another to give up the daughter. And I believe he asks the nurse to take her to an institution, but she ends up taking the baby and raising her on her own. So I think it follows both of the lives of the brother and the daughter together and like parallel to each other. Next I have my Jane Austen books. I have Persuasion and Emma and Sense and Sensibility. These are extremely intimidating for me because I finished Pride and Prejudice for our book club last year and I loved it. But again, I feel myself kind of slipping into a reading slump and I feel like I don't have enough brain power for these at the moment. And it's really embarrassing to say that, but I think if anything, I'll start with Persuasion. It's a little more manageable and then move on to Emma, which is the largest of the three. But Emma seems to be everybody's favorite Jane Austen book. So I think that's the order I'm gonna go in and then move on to Sense and Sensibility. Next I have Miss Eliza's English Kitchen by Annabelle Apps. I bought this on the way back from Put in Bay. And we went into this cute little cafe and it was kind of a weird setup, but they had like a cart of books at the outside of the cafe and just free to take. And this book was like completely wrapped and brand new and I took it. It looks so cute. In the back of it, it has a bunch of recipes that I'm gonna try. I think that would be such a cute video to like kind of do a reading vlog of this and then try out a couple of the recipes. So I think I'm gonna try that. Now I have Taylor Jenkins Reid, Carrie Soto is back. I've read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's book. No, I haven't. There are a couple her older ones that I haven't read yet, but I'm almost caught up with all of them. And I'm trying to read her backlog before I read this one. Don't ask me why I'm doing that to myself because I really want to get into this book, but I feel like I sabotage myself in so many ways. Now I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This same thing with Jane Austen. It's so intimidating. I have to be in the right mindset for this. Now this is my oldest. This is my oldest book on my TBR, on my physical TBR. Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee. I cannot bring myself to pick this book up. I don't know why. It's very frustrating for me because I see it every time I go out to pick a book and I'm like, Summer, just read it. Just read it. It's not that hard. It's YA. It's gonna be easy. You're gonna breeze through it. I just can't do it. Maybe this will be on my May TBR, but we'll see. No promises. Now we have A Cosmic Kind of Love by Samantha Young. It's just a cute little contemporary fiction novel. I kind of want to wait to read this in the summertime. I feel like romance is for summer. Next is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. This is such an interesting book. It's about two friends, Madison and Lillian. Madison has these two stepkids and she kind of enlists Lillian's help as a nanny, I believe. And the twins' skin ignites when they get agitated. I don't know, that just seemed wild to me. And I had to know what is gonna happen in this book. Next I have The Summer Wives by Beatrice Williams. This paper is my favorite paper ever. This was recommended to me by a friend. I think this takes place in the 1950s and it's about all these wives that frequent this island, this private island, and something goes down. I don't know, but I'm gonna save this for in the summer, maybe when I'm by the pool? Question mark? We'll see. Next I have Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. This is also YA and this follows a girl named Samantha who has OCD. It kind of follows her through high school and how she deals with her OCD. But this has been on my TBR for a really long time too. And this might be one that I have to pick up soon because this also has really good ratings on Goodreads. Now I have Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. And this is one that I'm waiting to be in a nice mentally stable place because this is gonna kill me. Anything that has to do with war pretty much tears me apart. Next I have my book of the month read that we are doing in May, The House Across the Lake. I picked this, so I hope that everybody likes this book and I didn't waste everyone's time. Now I have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, and this is also YA, and I've had this on my TBR for so long. This is the alternate cover. I really wanted the other cover. It was so cool. This was all Barnes & Noble had. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I read, what is it? Save the Date a long time ago. I think that she is Wattpad. She was a Wattpad writer. I could be literally making that up. I love her writing. These books are so cute and they just remind me of when I was like 14 to 16 years old in the summertime, and her writing is reminiscent of Sarah Dessen. So if you like Sarah Dessen, I believe that you'd like Morgan Matson. And my very last book that I have on my physical TBR is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. Emery Lord is one of my favorite authors. She's so good. She writes perfect YA books in my opinion, and they're just such feel-good books. There's nothing like fancy about them. It's just good entertainment. Okay guys, that is it. That's every book that I have not read on my TBR. Hopefully Sabrin will be with me next time and we can do something a little more fun, but to dip my toes back into the filming world and for the booktube world, I just kind of wanted to do something quick and easy. So hope you enjoyed. I'm sure you'll see these books in a few other videos if I do reading vlogs or just in our like faves or flops that I'm sure we'll get to at some point this year. So thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time. Bye.